So, you want to launch a subscription box and don't know where to start? Girl, you are in the right place. I'm Julie Ball, a subscription box coach, and your host here at Subscription Box Basics, a podcast for new and aspiring subscription box entrepreneurs that want to avoid overwhelm. So grab a coffee, some pen and paper, and let's have some fun. Hey, and welcome back to Subscription Box Basics. So glad you guys are here listening because I have a treat for you today. My name is Julie Ball, and I am your subscription box coach and the founder and chief sparkler at Sparkle Hustle Grow. And I have my friend Becky Burgess from Splash Owl Media with me today. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So guys, if you haven't met Becky before, she is a Facebook ads specialist, and she is the one responsible for all the ads that you may see from Sparkle Hustle Grow, Subscription Box Bootcamp. And when we hired her, this was a big deal for us because we had worked with a few ad agencies in the past with some decent results. We've worked with some other agencies in the past with really, really, really bad results. And then she came on board and just shifted things in a very positive manner when it came to our Facebook ads. So I'm so excited to have her here. And quick backstory, like many of my guests, we originally met through the Boss Mom group.
Yes.
We were actually together at the first Boss Mom retreat. While we didn't really spend much time together then, you know, she was on my radar. And then years later, when I was ready to hire, I went back to the Boss Moms group and was doing my little search for Facebook ads experts, you know, all the keywords. And Becky's name kept coming up. And I'm like, I know Becky. I know her. How do I know her? So it just goes to show you, once again, that those events that we invest in really pan out time after time. So anyhow, for those who haven't met her before, Becky, you want to give a little background so they can get to know you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned going to the events because I think that was the first time I ever attended an event, and I'm still in contact with every single woman that I met there. And I love watching all the businesses grow, and we still message each other back and forth. I love it.
Yeah. And specifically that event. So big virtual high five to Dana Mall staff.
Yes. So a little bit about me. I have over 10 years of marketing experience. I worked for different marketing and ad agencies over the years until I started my own agency in 2015 with the sole purpose and goal of I really wanted to work with other women-owned businesses and help them grow and succeed online. But I also I'm a mom, and so I wanted to be home with my kids too. And so this was just kind of a way for me to take my passion as well as being, a mom of three. And I am actually a homeschooling mom of three, and we're going on our third year of homeschooling. So very busy household, but I love the work that I do. And I love watching other businesses grow and being part of those teams.
Awesome. So what is it about Facebook ads that drew you in?
Honestly, so I came from direct mail. So we started out in direct mail and working with primarily the home building industry and restaurants and auto dealerships. And Facebook ads was very, very small at that point. They didn't even have an audience build out that they have now. So when we were getting started in it, I actually had to go into our consumer database, pull down a qualified list of leads and upload them directly to Facebook and hope that I would get at least a 20% match rate. And so Facebook has come a long way since then. But I love the changes. I love how, and I specifically specialize in Facebook ads because Facebook is a beast. It's constantly changing and evolving. So the course that you may have taken a year ago is probably outdated already. And there's just it just moves so quickly. And that's kind of how my mind works because I get bored of the same repeat things. And so I love oh my gosh, carousel ads are doing really well. Let's test that out. And I'm really into So I actually have my minor is in visual arts, and then my major is in business marketing. And it's kind of funny because my brain is split 50-50. I love the design aspect, but I love the numbers. I love looking at data and pulling down the reports and going through them. And making them make sense for clients, of course. But I'm all about the numbers and research and all that. So I love Facebook ads because it offers so much variety there.
I think that's fun that you said that, because that's an unusual combination, that someone likes the visual side of it, but also likes the data crunching.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have people like you.
Yeah. I've taken those Facebook quizzes, which side of the brain do you, and mine was seriously 50-50. It was split right down the middle. I was like, well, that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And I think you're right about Facebook ads courses, because I've taken some in the past and I've tried to DIY it. And while that worked really well for being, I wouldn't say really well, but that worked good enough when I was in my early stages of launch and things were really scrappy. But then as I was continuing to grow, I would hit these plateaus where I'm like, I know that Facebook ads can get me to the next plateau, but I didn't have the skill set to do it. And that's when I leaned to people like you. And listeners, fun fact, we are actually somewhat of neighbors. You live in Western North Carolina as well. So this is one of those online friendships that we can actually get together in real life.
Yes. And that just came about this year because we actually lived in Austin, Texas for, years, almost 8 years. And then we're like, you know what, we want to own land and we want, I want to have all of the animals. Mm-hmm. So we just had these hopes and dreams of moving out. And I actually, because I grew up in Florida, we traveled up here to North Carolina, and I just fell in love. And I brought my husband, who is born and raised Texan, and he had never lived outside of the state. And I brought him during the hottest time of the year and then during the coldest time of the year. I was like, if you like it during the two worst times of the year, you're going to love it. And he fell in love. And we immediately started looking at properties, and then we found this one, and we're just sold, let's move. And we moved 2 weeks before all of this shutdowns with the pandemic. And so crazy. I was like, people were like, did y'all have that planned? And I was like, no, lucked out.
Can you plan anything in 2020?
No, you can't. But I was like, well, it worked out. I mean, we were sitting pretty nice out, on land while, our old town in Texas, they were just getting hit with all the cases and everything. So no, we absolutely love it here, and it's beautiful. And then when I was moving, Julie was like, she goes, oh my gosh, wait, where are you moving? Oh my gosh, I live 45 minutes away from there. So it's been really nice. There's a lot of boss moms here.
There are.
Yeah.
It's nice. And I love having some of those online friends translate into in real life friends, as you and I are able to get on the water. We went stand up paddleboarding together, and that kind of stuff's fun, So, okay. So
I sat down. But
that's fair enough. Fair enough.
I tried.
Let's get into the meat of the topic here. So Facebook ads, you specifically work with a lot of subscription box businesses. So guys, she has seen a lot of data and a lot of visuals about using subscription box businesses and trying to promote them. So tell us, Becky, what's working right now? And this could be a whole different conversation in a month from now or 2 months from now, but what's working right now? And feel free to use Sparkle, Hustle, Grow examples if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. So really right now, and I'm going to kind of do this for specifically subscription box businesses, because like Julie said, that's where I specialize in. And so right now we're in the middle of the holiday kind of push of planning. And this year, like we mentioned, 2020 has just been a crazy year. So we've had the pandemic, we have an election, we have the holiday season is getting pushed further and further up. All the big companies that pulled back from ad spend are just going to go crazy right after the elections. So what I would recommend is that October is about list building. If you have some kind of like giveaway or special promotion or a way to build your email list, that is what's going to set you apart. Having that nurtured, warm audience to then retarget during the holiday pushes, they're going to be more likely to purchase from you than they are from these big companies that have massive ad spend budgets. So you really need to set yourself apart and don't go for the obvious audiences. And I actually talked with one of my Facebook ad reps recently, and I was just picking his brain on like all of the things going on. He goes, he was telling me about the elections and how that's really been pushing up ad spend. So if you've been spending a lot more than you typically have been in the past over the past, couple of months, that it's probably the elections and everything going on right now. So I highly recommend giveaways are just really great to list build. It gets people excited about your product and your box. So list building and then moving into a really awesome nurture sequence on the back end if you have a low budget for Facebook ads and you don't have enough in there to do a retargeting campaign. But if you have enough wiggle room, do a retargeting campaign and do a some sort of like Black Friday flash sale or something like that. And I would recommend doing that before Black Friday because, again, that's going to be another big push for these big companies with big budgets.
That's really good advice. And we're doing the giveaway based off of your advice. So we are giving away a 3-month subscription to Sparkle Hustle Grow. And I'm excited about that. We're going to run that in the tail end of October to grow that email list. And if you haven't done a giveaway before, there's a million ways that you can do it. But the way that we really like to do it is through an app or a software called King Sumo. And that just happened to be our favorite one. And the reason why we like that one is because it has viral capabilities to it. So for example, you can enter to win, and then you can enter every day, again, so driving them back, keeping you top of mind. They can earn extra entries by liking you on Facebook or following you on Instagram. You can earn an extra entry by watching a video, a link, so we'll put a link to a YouTube video in there. You can earn extra entries by sharing with other people. And so the more activities that you do and the more involved someone, like a consumer, gets with it, the more entries and the more chances they have to win. So it's a great software. That's what we typically use for both Subscription Box Bootcamp, but also Sparkle Hustle Grow.
Yeah. And I think actually all of my clients right now that are doing giveaways, it's all King Sumo. Yeah. And actually AppSumo, I don't know if y'all know this. They usually do the lifetime deals. They have King Sumo lifetime deal for $49 for the pro version.
That's awesome. So AppSumo is what would you call it? It's like a deal site for software.
For software, but you can get lifetime access. So software that's typically like a continuity, like a month-to-month subscription, you can get lifetime deals, and usually they range between like $39 and $49.
I love it.
I've gotten so many. I'm all about like the software and like looking at new ones.
AppSumo probably hates it, but I'm going to liken them to like the Groupon for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So if you guys like deals on software, and typically it's not, do they have courses and stuff too? I always just hone in on the software.
They usually have those like free courses. I haven't taken any through there. I mean, I've added them to my cart and I've like went through the process, but they're still hanging out in my AppSumo. Because I'm always curious what people are doing. But they have really great deals on a lot of good software.
Yes. So you can get King Sumo on AppSumo.
Yes. All the sumos.
Yes. So let's get back to it. So giveaways, that's what's working. What else is working? I know there's like a million different types of ads, and it can be so overwhelming to choose. Should I do a static image? Should I do a video or a carousel? Or, there's so many different times. Yeah. So what are you looking at right now? And like, what are you recommending?
The biggest thing, and I mean, because we've been running tests within your accounts too, carousel ads are amazing. And if you could do like that continuation carousel. So
explain what a carousel ad is first.
So the carousel ad are multiple images that kind of link together. And then they have a major call to action at the end. So if you've seen some of the ones where like the graphics just continuously go, some people do, especially for like boxes, you can do like, your flat lay box on the first image works extremely well because people want to know what's in the box.
Yes.
And then connecting with you. I would definitely put a personal touch on there. One of my clients is, her subscription box is for little girls and little princesses. And so, parents have sent in videos and pictures of like their daughters opening up the box. And I'm like, let's use that organic, genuine kind of like pictures that was clearly taken by a phone instead of a professional photographer.
And that's good. That's fine.
Really well too. Yeah. Yeah. And so you don't need a massive budget. You don't need professional photography. It just needs to be a very clear image of what they're getting, and then how it affects, how it has benefited people in their community. I love like using even some little like testimonial blurbs inside of the carousel. So maybe on like image 3 or 4, like dropping in some screenshot testimonials from your page or something so they can see that it was posted on Facebook. That's what we call social proof. And you definitely want that trickled in there. And then anything with movement. So you can move movement with a still image, the carousel, it pushes them to engage in it. So even when they click through each of the things, that's engagement on your ad. And that means that Facebook is then going to show them that ad consistently until they buy. And so it's engagement on the ad. So
when you're looking at a carousel ad on your phone, you actually swipe to the left, right? Correct?
Yeah. If you're on Instagram, and I think the arrows on Facebook. I don't know. I remove those apps from my phone.
Oh my gosh. So by engaging, by swiping and looking at the next image, Facebook is putting you into that algorithm to say they're engaging with it. I didn't know that.
You're interested.
Yeah.
So the read more. So when we have the copy on the ad itself, you want it to be long enough to where they have to click that read more, because that's engagement on the ad. So anything that's pushing that engagement, that curiosity, that is someone their interest is being spiked. So I always like to set up the ad. Like I have my 3 pillars of a successful Facebook ad, and the image is supposed to be eye-catching. It's supposed to stop the scroll. The headline is supposed to pique their interest. And then the copy is supposed to push them to an action, the action that you want them to take. So
that's
we have, So I always like to break it down that way. So when you're creating it, you really hone in on the user's experience when they are scrolling through Facebook. What is it that you want them to see? How are you attracted? For me, I've tested this out. There's like a whole like mindset behind like what colors to use, how to, and so I tested out because Facebook put out a report that blues are now converting really well in graphics. And so I decided to test blues with yellows and then see what's working. So anything that I see that's kind of coming, I always like running these little like, I call them micro ads, these little tests, like just throwing, $20 because I'm all about that data. I'm fully, willing to say bye to, some money in exchange for the numbers. And so, and I also like to tell people when you're setting up your ad, make sure you're not just putting all of your audience or targeting into one audience, break it out. So we do the base audience and then tailor off onto that. So you should have 3 to 5 audiences that you're testing whenever you're launching a campaign.
That's good.
Be very specific. And a good audience size, this is like an extra little nugget, is to stay between 100K and 1.4 million. That's kind of like that sweet spot. The closer you can get to that 100K mark, the better. But I know like lookalike audiences, they are usually like in the 2.1 million range.
And explain what a lookalike audience is if someone hasn't ever done ads before. So you create an audience and you can create that based off of existing customers, or you can base it off of demographics, geographics, that type of thing. And then you could take it one more level, right, through a lookalike.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did with yours and one of your highest performing ones is we took down a list of all of your current or all of your subscribers that have been with you for a long time, because you have that data. I recommend for anyone who's pulling down an email list and is going to upload it and do a lookalike audience on that. Basically, you're telling Facebook that I want more people that fit this, these people.
Because we know they spend on your product. Yeah.
And they're going to have certain things in common. So Facebook's going to put all that together for you and promote it more to those specific people. Now, I will say that you have to have at least 20 people on an email list or on a list to upload it. I would recommend having at least 100. Get to the 100 part, because you're going to have more data to pull from. 20 people is not enough, but that is the minimum requirement for Facebook. But if you have 100 is a good pool to then say, okay, we have quite a bit of people now. Let's see what they have in common. Is it their age? Is it that they're all moms? Maybe they all follow Ellen or the Real Housewives, or shop at Target, or I mean, there's different things, and Facebook's going to know, and they're going to compare all those little similarities. And so if they're all registered business owners, they're going to find that too. And so I love lookalike audiences. 9 times out of 10, those are going to be your best audiences. You can do them based on your page likes too. Now, if you're beginning and you're starting out, you don't really want to, have, when you have your cousins and your mom and friends liking your page, you don't really want to do a lookalike audience on that.
Well, what about if you're in pre-launch? Could you look at your email database and see the people who have the most highest open rates, the people who are engaging with your emails? Could you use
absolutely. That? Absolutely. And I think giveaways is a really great stepping stone, because then you already know there's an interest there. So I would definitely pull down that list and do a lookalike audience, because clearly people who are entering the giveaway are interested in your box.
Ooh.
They're interested in your products.
But that brings us to a really important point, is when it comes to giveaways, the number one rule of giveaways is be really specific with your prize, something that your exact target audience would want. So don't give away just an Amazon or a Target gift card, because everyone and their mother and sister are going to sign up for that. So as a quick example, if you're giving away your box, that's going to be more targeted. Or you could even just use excess inventory and create surprise packs. Last year, in the whole month of October, for our 3-year anniversary celebration, we created, I think it was maybe 25 or 30 surprise packs using excess inventory. And then we ran the giveaway all month. Now, typically I recommend a giveaway for say 10 days is our average. But this one was just a bigger one. We wanted to really grow our list. I was just, using excess inventory. So you want to make sure that prize is going to attract your ideal target audience.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. So you really want to be specific on your targeting whenever you're running a giveaway to that as well. So you kind of know the baseline of who you want to attract. And then from there, the people will opt in. And then I would pull down that list once you get to 100 and upload it back to Facebook and do a lookalike on that, and then run another test to that audience specifically. Because I have a feeling you're probably going to get better results as far as opt-ins and then those translating to sales. So yes, being very specific specific. Yeah. And I love the idea of like reusing inventory that you already have. It's sitting around. I actually, one of my clients that we're doing the giveaway for, she was like, well, what should I put in the giveaway? And I was like, well, you have excess inventory. Do the ultimate like deluxe princess box or something like that, like something for the little girls that, you know, and you really want to get to that $100 or more value. That $100 to $300 range is where you want to be on giveaways. So, and it's the value. So it doesn't have to be what you paid for the items. It's the value of it.
So the retail value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. So that was a lot of good information about what's working. And the next question I want to ask is what's not working? And the reason I ask this is because part of what I like to provide is through my journey, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I like to share those mistakes so people can learn from them and they don't have to go through that as well. And especially when it comes to Facebook ads, your mistakes are going to cost you cash. I mean, your mistakes, you put money into those ads. So what are some of like the big no-nos with Facebook ads so people don't waste their money?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest ones that I see is people boosting posts. I do not ever recommend that. I'm all about working inside of Ads Manager. The problem with boosting a post is you don't have control of the data. You don't have control over where the budget is being spent, what audiences you're testing out. So Facebook basically makes all those decisions for you. You say, and I know they kind of entice you because they're just like, it's only $20 and look how many people you potentially reach.
One click.
It's like, yeah, one click and just you're done and set up. But I recommend going into the back end, and what you can do if you have a post on your business page that's gaining a lot of traction, what you can do is turn it into an ad on the back end by doing a post engagement campaign. So that's the objective. It's called post engagement, and you can immediately pull it down. Then you can test different audiences. You can do your lookalike audiences. You can decide the placement of it, how much you want to run it for, and for, you know, so you can kind of set those parameters on the whole campaign level versus boosting, which you don't have control over any of that. Another thing that I see people doing that isn't working is they just push out you know, the static images of I don't know, they go into like Facebook's like stock photos or whatever. And they just post, you know, things like that. And it's not engaging. It's not giving, you know, everyone is using those. So stand out, showcase yourself, your brand, you know, don't be afraid to be different. Like I even had my graphic designer do some like really cool, like cartoon mock-ups of like the Facebook app on a phone. And it was just so colorful and bright. That got me way better traction than a woman behind a computer screen.
Wow. Okay. So, and with Canva, it's so easy to add movement now. Like you could add little sparkles, or you could add just like an arrow that's pointing and moving. You know, Canva is, if you guys haven't used Canva before, it's a free online like desktop design software. And there's upgraded versions that give you more features, but I mean, you could just take a picture of you or your product and add a little bit of movement, and it'll probably do the same thing.
Yeah, it's those little movements. People just want to see something different on their feed. I also wouldn't go and start talking anything about, you know, there's that big rush when all the shutdowns happened with COVID that everyone was just writing it into their copy. Well, now Facebook is just shutting down anything COVID related.
So it's like a trigger keyword.
It's a trigger keyword now. And, you know, the accounts have been disabled, things like that. And then they've had to be reinstated because, I mean, it's not against their policies. But it's just kind of like just avoid it.
Just don't say it.
Plus people who are coming across your ads, they're wanting to kind of escape. They're wanting to get away. So don't remind them of everything that's going on.
They want a solution.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And then another thing I would say is you mentioned it with the arrows. A lot of campaigns now are getting, or a lot of images are getting flagged because you can't put arrows that are pointing to the button. So you can't entice them that way to take an action. So what I do instead is like if we can do some kind of like little like sparkle thing that's right there on that lower corner of, it draws their eyes down. So
that's really good advice. And I would say too, like if you have an opportunity, if in your picture, to choose something that the focus is kind of towards that bottom right, that might draw your eyes towards there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then have the call to action being very clear. I've looked at so many ads where I'm like, wait, what is this offer? And so you really want to make sure that it's clear and direct on the ad itself. Like, don't, I know we kind of like see all the salesy terms and, clickbaity kind of stuff, and it works to a certain extent, but usually when you get on the page, it's consistent. So you need to make sure that if you're seeing a lot of bounces, oh my gosh, my ads are getting great click through, but no one's opting in when they get to my page, then that disconnect could be the messaging. It could be that, well, but you said this in your ad and now you're doing this.
Yeah.
And so it's just keeping in mind the messaging really needs to translate on both sides.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And before we close it up, I want to talk about trigger keywords, because I know that's a conversation you and I have had before. So what are some of the other like trigger keywords that are going to make an ad not get approved? So like when you create a Facebook ad, you don't just click go and it's automatically out there, right? It has to go through the algorithm or sometimes even a manual review before it gets approved. And I know in the past, like you have told me things like the words make money or, obviously you said COVID, things like that are going to be a challenge to get approval.
Yeah. So yes, there are certain, and I wish Facebook would just like put out a list.
Give us a list. Yeah.
Things we need to avoid saying. Wouldn't that be easy?
Yes.
But they don't. So basically, how I set it up is, you really need to understand that, if your open-ended questions sometimes are being flagged. I noticed that recently, like past 3 months, they haven't been flagged as much. So like when you are making an assumption about an audience, that's a really big flag that gets your ads disapproved. And so then another one,
health claims. What about like
health claims? And even when it comes to like imagery too, because they do have their bots that scan the images. So you need to make sure you're being careful of what you're putting on there. So anything that is directed to lose weight in 30 days, or these are empty promises, or work from home, things like that. So you have to be very strategic on how you word things.
Yeah.
In the health, and I find most of the flags and most of the issues and rejections happening in the health and wellness space.
Yeah.
Because there's just the diet, the word diet, you have to kind of, it's a give and a take, 50-50 if it's going to get rejected or not. Yeah. But there's a lot of censorship that's going on across the board, even when it comes to paid advertisement, which is why a lot of companies pulled away from it. And we were seeing the cost per action go way down in the beginning, half of the year, because so now everyone's kind of, things are reopening and
ramping back up,
put more money back into advertising spend. So now we're seeing the opposite, and now it's spiking. And it could be the season too. Like I said, we have the elections, we have all of these things going on. We have the holiday season coming up.
Right.
And, people don't know what's going on. So there's a lot that is happening this year that has never happened before in previous years, and all happening at one time.
Right. And that all being said, Facebook ads should not be a set it and forget it thing. This should be something that you have your finger on the pulse and you're watching, because if there's an ad set or an audience that is spiking, then you can pause that. You have some control over your spend. So, okay. Yeah. So Becky, do you have any other advice or any other closing, tips or anything before you share your offer?
Yeah. So really, it's just about testing. Don't be afraid to test different things. I know people kind of shy away from that, but like if you do the CBO campaign, so
And what's that stand for?
that's budget optimization, custom
Budget
budget.
optimization.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where you're setting the budget at the campaign level or campaign budget optimization instead of in the ad set level. And what that says is I'm willing to spend this much per day, and you let Facebook take the reins and say, you divide it out among these different audiences and ads. So I find that that's a really great way for people who aren't familiar with Facebook ads to take ownership of their budget. And Facebook always loves when you use their latest features. So if you notice that they're pushing a feature, go ahead and give it a test, because it will typically get you lower cost per result, because they're wanting to get that data and that feedback on the back end. So
very, very interesting. So like, do as they suggest. Play
sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. Play nice in their sandbox, and they may reward you with
like dynamic creatives. That was a new feature, and we've been using that most of this year, and that has it's almost like night and day on your cost per purchase or cost per action.
Yeah.
So yeah, just testing out those new features that Facebook is trying to promote.
Love it. Okay. Well, this has been so much fun to chat with you. And I'm sure people had their hands are probably cramping from all the notes that they've taken. But have no fear, people, because there's more. You can learn from Becky. She has a 3-part video series to share with you. Becky, if you want to tell a little bit about that and then where they can find that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I created this 3-part video series earlier this year for Julie specifically in her community. So one of the examples so there's technically 4 videos, because I gave y'all a bonus video because I actually took someone in her subscription box bootcamp community, and I went into the back end of her ads manager and showed y'all how to build out the audiences. So that's an extra little video that's in there. But basically, the 3-part video is about the right way to test your ads, how to write copy that converts, and then utilizing retargeting campaigns. And so this is all just a way for you to maximize your Facebook ad spend. Whether you have a small budget or a large budget, it really doesn't matter. Put something towards your marketing.
Awesome. And so you can find that at splashowlmedia.com/SHG. We'll put that in the show notes. I know that's a handful or a mouthful. splashowlmedia.com/SHG.
Yes.
Okay. And that's free, people. So if you don't know where to start with Facebook ads, this would be a great place for you to start. Okay. So Becky, where can people find and follow you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have an online group that I do weekly trainings. I give added tips as we start, do tests on different things. I give little nuggets and advice and so that's a really great way to connect with me. And then
what's the name of that group?
To facebook.com/groups/women business owner,
okay.
All singular. And then,
and we'll put that in the show notes.
Yes. And so that's where you can find me. But basically, it's digital marketing for boss babes.
Okay.
Is the name of it. And we have been doing monthly challenges where we walk through those steps together in this massive, 5-day challenge.
Love it.
Help you, build a strategy that works for your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. It has been such a joy getting to know you over this past 9-10 months. And you have been such a valuable asset to our team at Sparkle Hustle Grow. And for that, I want to publicly thank you so much, Becky.
Oh, thank you. I love being part of this team. You guys, Julie is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, well, you're so much fun to hang out with too. So, okay. So if you guys love this episode, make sure you subscribe, rate and review us. It helps us get in front of more people to help everybody start their own subscription box business with the right tools, the right tech, and the right cheerleaders like me and Becky in your corner. All right. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us on Subscription Box Basics, the podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.